Welcome to Washington in Focus. I'm your host, Brett Davis, the Center Square's Washington State Editor. Joining me today is reporter Randy Brecht. Now, you're our newest reporter, and this is your first podcast, so I was wondering if you could tell us a little bit about yourself and your background.
Well, I'm new to the Center Square. I joined in late July. Previous to that, I had to work for, I'm in Ephrata, Washington, which is in the central part of the state. Right. I'd worked for the local community newspaper for 40 years, the Grant County Journal. It closed down at the end of June. It was a print publication that had been in operation for 116 years. So wow. It's been a loss for our community. But I had this opportunity to join this Center Square, and it's like I've told pretty much everybody, I'm an old dog and it's a new trick. So it's been entertaining. But
40 years is quite a tenure, and let me just say we're glad to have you and all of your experience.
Well, thank you. Like some people say, it's a long time to be camped out in one spot. So, but here I am.
That's very impressive. And, hopefully the change isn't too traumatic.
I'm adjusting.
So I thought this week we'd talk about Spokane Mayor Nadine Woodward. She was recently censored by the City Council. Can you give us some details on that? What's going on there?
Well, two council members brought a resolution to censure Mayor Nadine Woodward because she appeared at a worship service held in August. And ostensibly, the mayor said that a friend had asked her to appear at this service. It was a large public gathering. Right. It was initially hosted by a gentleman named Sean Fucht, but also in attendance was a controversial figure, a former state Republican legislator, Matt Shea, who's from the Spokane Valley. And at one point, the mayor took the stage as part of a prayer for victims of two wildland fires that had gone across Spokane County 2 days earlier, destroyed hundreds of homes, displaced thousands of people. And the mayor briefly participated in this prayer service. And the prayer was offered up by Matt Shea, who has a controversial background, a very conservative figure. He was ousted from the legislature by the House Republican caucus in 2019 for some involvement in the Patriot movement, which was described by the caucus through an independent investigation as a domestic terrorist.
Hence the controversy.
Yeah. And then Mr. Fuchs was described as a known anti-LGBTQ extremist. So there was criticism of the mayor for having been on stage with these two individuals at this particular gathering. So two council members, well, three actually, Zach Sapone and Betty Wilkerson and Karen Stratton initially issued a statement condemning the mayor's appearance. And then Wilkerson and Sapone brought a resolution before the council Monday night to censure her for her appearance.
So I understand it was a 4-3 vote to censure her. Is that correct?
Correct. It was a 4-3 vote. Sapone, Wilkerson, Stratton, and the council president, Lori Kinnear, all supported the measure. It was opposed by three other council members, Jonathan Bingle, Michael Cathcart, and Ryan Ulrich. And this meeting itself, it was a marathon session. It started at 6 p.m. It did not finish until 11 p.m.
I understand you watched the whole thing.
I watched the whole thing. It's in Spokane. I'm in Ephrata, which is 2 hours away.
You, sir, are a trooper.
Well,
I have attended many city council meetings that went long.
I had the opportunity to get up and move around in my home, whereas those people who attended, they were there. They did take a break. It wasn't all about this. Right. There was also some controversy over the city's, over the actually Spokane Regional Animal Control Service called SCRAPS. Right. And that took up probably an hour and a half or two. So, but the debate over, the council vote, that was probably at least 2.5 hours.
So I imagine there was a lot of public comment. Did it lean one way or the other? Was it split down the middle? How'd that break down?
It was both sides. Probably the prevalent side was in support of the mayor, in support of the gathering itself. I think about 36 people, over 30 people testified, some in support of the resolutions, some opposed to it. And, it was the the topics kind of varied depending on who was speaking.
Right.
Some people saw the resolution as kind of an attack on Christianity, somewhat as an attack on constitutional rights of free speech. Others described the mayor's attendance, that it was an embarrassment to the city, and it painted the community in a bad light, right. And that it wasn't welcoming.
Now, was the mayor in attendance for this at the council meeting?
She was initially for a separate reason. There was a person who was involved in mental health counseling who had passed away, okay. And she presented a proclamation in honor of that person with the family, and then she did not participate in any of the discussions pertaining to the resolution. I don't know if she left the building or not, but she did not make any comments at the time. So
I have a hard time imagining her sitting there listening to hours and hours of people talk about her attendance at this event, but who knows?
Yeah, she had prior to the meeting, she felt that it was something of a political ploy. She apologized. She said that she was not aware that Matt Shea was in attendance at that event, and she issued a statement later saying that she did not agree with his ideology. But she felt that the resolution was being presented by some of the supporters of Lisa Brown, who is a former state legislator, who was running for mayor against Nadine Woodward in the upcoming election. So some people felt the resolution was just an attempt to make Woodward look bad and Lisa Brown look good. So
the Machiavellian intrigue of politics.
Yes, at the local level.
Right. Well, we'll see if this puts an end to this issue. I don't know if it does, but I guess we'll see. So listeners can keep up with this story and more at thecentersquare.com. For Randy Brecht, this is Brett Davis. Please subscribe, and thanks for listening.